The prong collar has a reputation for being harsh, but the problem isn't the tool. It's the fact that most people are skipping the introduction process. Although it seems like a quick fix, skipping the prong collar introduction process can actually create the confusion that you're trying to avoid. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to introduce the prong collar the right way. Before we actually introduce the prong collar, we need to understand the components of it properly. This is a Herm Sprenger prong collar. These are the ones that I recommend you get. Don't get the ones with the buckles on them or any type of special clips. The proper way to put on a prong collar or take it off is simply to undo one of the links and then put it back together. I'll show you that when we actually put it on a dog here in a second. On the end of the prong collar, you have two rings. The ring that you want to put your leash on right here is called your live ring. It's the furthest away from the prongs. The ring that's closer to the prongs is the dead ring. You can put your leash on the dead ring anytime you want, just for general leash walking. However, when you put your leash on the dead ring, no tension from the prongs will be applied, even if your leash gets pulled tight. Now, when you're putting the prong collar on your dog, you want to put it high up on the neck, and you also want to make sure that there's a safety collar. Sometimes the prong collar, whenever you're working with it, it'll come apart on its own while you're training. So to avoid your dog being off leash completely, you can connect a leash to the live ring or the dead ring and to a secondary collar, which I always use a fur saver training collar in addition to my prong collar. You want the prong collar to be high up on the neck, just below the chin line where the neck meets the head. Put it right below that. And make sure that the prongs are fitted properly so they're just gently resting on the skin. You don't want them hanging off the neck. That's going to make the prong collar very ineffective in its use as you're training with your dog. Now, there's gonna be about 4 sizes of prong collars that you'll be exposed to as you're trying to look for a prong collar, which I do have a link to the prong collars that I like on Amazon down in the description below. But there's gonna be 4 sizes. There's the 4.0 millimeter prong collar, which is a very large prong collar, this one right here. This prong collar actually gives less of a correction than the smaller prong collars. So this could be used for different dogs, medium to large to extra large dogs, if you don't want it giving that much of a correction. The next size prong collar is going to be a 3.0 millimeter and then a 2.25 millimeter. These are great for medium-sized dogs to large dogs as well. You can use it on any size dog. You just adjust the links. You take links out or you add links in based on the size of your dog's neck. Then the smallest prong collar is the 1.5 millimeter prong collar. I actually like this one a lot. It gives kind of a fine-tuned communication correction whenever you're using it with your dog properly after your introduction process. I've used these on very large dogs, and I've also used it on very small dogs. So the size of the dog doesn't matter, but just understand that the smaller the prong collar, the more of a sensation that it's providing to your dog when you're actually putting tension on it. This is the one that I actually use for my own dogs as I was fine-tuning their sport training a long time ago. Just as an example, I'm going to show you how to put a prong collar on your dog's neck. You would basically put it around your dog's neck, put the links together, let it hang. Now what I'm looking for is for these prongs to be gently resting up against his skin. I don't want it excessively hanging off his skin. So you see how it's just gently resting right there. No pressure or tension is being applied until you decide to give a little bit of leash signaling. Now I'm going to show you putting a different size prong collar on his neck. So right here, I unclip it, I clip it back together. Again, note that the prongs are just gently resting on his skin. If I were to pull, they do come off the skin just a little bit, but if I don't pull on it, it's just gently resting there. That's how your prong collar should be set up whenever you're putting it on your dog. There are some people that will argue where this plate should be at in relation to your dog's neck. Me personally, I don't care where this plate is at. I just want to make sure that where I connect my leash is where the live and dead ring are going to be at. So if I connect my leash on this side of my dog's neck, I want my live and dead ring over here. If I were to connect my leash on the other side of my dog's neck, I would put it up this way so that my leash is connected to this side of the neck. The prong collar is going to evenly distribute the sensation around the whole neck where the prongs are in contact. So right here, if I connect my leash right here and I put tension on, it's going to evenly distribute that tension all the way around the neck where the prongs are actually touching. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach this dog the prong collar. I got the 2.25 millimeter right here, which is a good size for this dog, but I do have to size it for this dog, so I'm gonna take it apart and I'm gonna put it around her neck, all right? So once I get it apart here, I'm gonna put it around her neck. This is way too big. I just put it together and it's hanging off of her neck. So now I'm gonna take out one link from each side of the plate. So I'm taking one link out right here. I try to take them on even sides of the center plate, which this is the center plate right here. So I try to take them off of each side, one off of each side. That's a relatively good fit. It's sitting on her neck nicely, so we'll start with that. All right, the first step in the introduction process is going to be leash pressure, teaching her to move with the leash, not against it. Basically, if I put tension into the leash, I want to see her move with it. So right here, put a little bit of light tension into that leash. She's laying down. I'm just going to wait for her to take, good, right there. Right here, I pull light tension, good. Notice she took a step forward. I've done this preliminarily with the first Saber training collar already, because generally in my training process, I don't start with a prong collar. I only use them if I need to for a couple of days. So right here, gentle pull into the leash. She's laying down, I'm waiting for her to move with the leash. So right here, good, just like that. One more time. Good, just like that. I'm just looking for any movement in the same direction of the leash. I follow the rule of 3, so if I can do that 3 times and she moves fluidly 3 times, generally in a row, I'm ready to proceed to the next step. If I can't get 3 times in a row, then I'll keep practicing until she's comfortable doing it reliably. Now, if your dog's struggling with that, maybe the prong collar is just too much for even that gentle leash pressure, I'll generally do a lure pressure method. So right here, I have a piece of food in my hand. I'm going to put tension onto the leash and lure at the same time in the direction of the leash. Once she starts moving in the direction of the leash, good, I say good and I let her have the food. Now the key concept here is I'm holding the leash right about her shoulder level. So if you have a small dog, you need to make sure that you're down lower. If you have a big dog, you're up higher. I grab short on the leash right about here, right? Hold it at her shoulder level. I got the lure, I'm applying tension, and then I move the lure toward the tension. As long as she's moving with the tension, I can say good and reward as that tension is being alleviated once I give her the reward. So right here, lure's here, she's not getting the food, she's just able to sniff it. Tension is applied. I move the lure with the tension. As soon as she starts moving with the tension, I stop pulling on the leash. I say good, I reward. The only reason I'm not saying good right now is because I'm talking to you. Now the third step after you get that done is going to be applying gentle correction via the prong collar. So like, let's say I'm walking, for example. So notice when I'm walking, if I have to give a correction because I'm holding the leash in my right hand just across my body, loose leash right here, nope. I say no, gentle tug on the leash, reward right here after the correction. What this does is it helps her understand that when she feels that pressure on the prong collar, that she should just move back to her known position because I've already taught her how to walk next to me. This is just helping solidify the behavior. So it just helps her understand and move back to a known position, and then you get rewarded there, reinforced, left turn. You get reinforced there, nope. So right here, she's a little bit ahead. Say no, little tug, reward right here. Notice she's jumping a little bit as she's anticipating the reward. I can correct that as well. So right here, if I go to reach right here, nope, if she's itching like that, all I'm gonna do is just keep moving and reward, okay? So right here, fix her ear right here, good girl. Nope, 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 good. So she's itching, I do a little bit of light movement forward with the leash. She stops itching, I say good and reward. But let's say I grab a reward right here, okay? Good, she didn't jump, but if she were to jump, I can do the same thing. No, little tug on the leash. She settles down, all 4 paws on the ground, then the reward is given. And the same methodology can apply to any behavior that you're working on. I was just using walking as an example, but let's say you're working on a come command. You can use the prong to help you do that with just a gentle pull on the prong. That's the come. If she doesn't come, nope, little pull like that. As soon as she does the behavior, then you can say good and reward. So right here, nope, nope, good. Notice she's doing a little bit of jumping, trying to move around me to get to where the rewards are. I can use the prong and the leash to help me do that. And that's the sit, and that's the down. So any behavior you can apply the same methodology to, but as you're introducing it for the first couple of repetitions to your first couple of sessions, you pair the little light correction with the reward directly thereafter. And that's the come, Okay, she came very nicely on that one. Let's see if she goes around the side of my body right here. Okay, she's not doing it now, okay, which means that was an effective little communication with the prong collar earlier. So right here, let me get her to do a heel from a come command. Okay, good. She did a relatively good job right there. Then I can go about my walk. As your dog is mastering that prong collar communication, you're gonna slowly reduce your rewards until you don't need rewards very often. You just use them randomly. That's gonna be your long-term maintenance plan. Now, I use prong collars just a little bit in my training as I need to, not with every dog. But what I do use with every dog that I train with is an e-collar. That's how we're gonna ensure your dog's safety and well-being while giving them the freedom to be a dog. If you wanna learn my e-collar training process, the full tutorial, just click this video right here and I'll see you there.